This is a pre-training for our field department for folks who want to collect signatures for the Respect Missouri Voters Amendment to ban Missouri politicians from attacking the will of the people.
That's right. Yeah, so we're going to go over the basics of signature gathering in Missouri, how this campaign is going to operate, and some other key details. We are going to be having full, longer, like hour plus signature gathering trainings later on that will go into more detail and have some like role play and so on. But this is a pre-training to get folks started on what we're doing here.
Garrett,
All right.
do you need to give me permission? Oh, maybe you just did. Thank you.
Do I? Hold on.
I think it just let me.
Okay, great. All right. Yeah, it should be set so that anybody with a link can edit. All right. So, gathering signatures. So all y'all are here because you signed up to gather signatures. So we're going to talk very briefly about how that works, the rules in Missouri. All right. So I've got an example sheet here, which I realize is not particularly. Hold on. Can everybody see my screen? I can't tell if it's. Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is a sample. It's not super clear. The wording is tiny, but basically every petition sheet is going to have 10 names and it's going to have a bunch of legal text around it. All right. That's because these petition sheets in Missouri are considered legal documents. So the details that Missouri requires. Each sheet in the top corner here has a county that you need to list. So those of you who have already gathered on previous petition campaigns know that Missouri signatures only count if people sign a sheet for the county that they live in. If they sign their name and it's for the wrong county, then the state tosses that signature out as invalid. So we want to make sure that we are carrying around multiple petition sheets whenever we're collecting, so that folks who do come from a different county can tell us that and we can put them on the correct sheet. So we always want to ask folks which county they live in. So for example, I've collected around the St. Louis area. I always make sure that I'm checking, are you in St. Louis City or St. Louis County? Whenever I ask anybody that. And if they say something else, I will bust out a brand new sheet with no signatures on it, and sometimes just turn in a sheet with only one or two names. So that is a very key detail.
So divided counties, divided between congressional districts, are still a county.
Yeah, that's right. So for example, St. Louis County has CD1 and CD2, depending on where you are. But as long as it says St. Louis County on top, you can put them on the same sheet.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So registered voting address. So in Missouri, you're only allowed to sign an initiative petition if you are a registered voter. So every time we're approaching folks, we want to make sure that we are asking before they sign, are you a registered voter? And remind them to put down their registered voting address. So if their address changed, if they put down an old address or a new one that doesn't match what's on file, the state will again toss that out, even if it's otherwise valid. So the state has these rules in place specifically to make it harder to collect. This is the kind of stuff that we're trying to prevent them from worsening. All right. And each sheet is a notarized affidavit. So all of this text up here, this is an example from Prop A from last year, by the way. It has the details. Do you want to amend the Missouri law to do these things? And it says up here, we, the undersigned registered voters of Missouri and blank county, blah, blah, blah. Basically, you have to sign at the bottom here and get it notarized, certifying that you personally witnessed each person sign that. That you are at least 18 years old. Teenagers are not allowed to collect. That you've never been convicted of forgery, which I think is a sensible rule, honestly. And you have to also clearly indicate whether you are a volunteer gatherer or if you are paid. So on this campaign, we're planning to use entirely volunteer gatherers. All right. Okay, so general best practices for when you do go out to collect. We recommend collecting with a partner. For one, it's a little bit more fun. Two, it's just nice to have company when you're approaching a bunch of strangers because that can be a little bit stressful, and it's nice to have somebody to commiserate with. Three, if you are ever in a situation that feels not 100% safe, it's a lot better to be in that situation with a partner than alone, you know. Most of the time, you guys are not going to be collecting in unsafe areas. We're going to be careful about that. But like every now and then, you're going to approach somebody who gets like real freaking angry at you. And it's nice to have some backup when that happens. All right. When you do approach, we want to be friendly both as we're coming up to them and when we leave. So the majority of people that you approach in public, if that's the style of signature gathering that you do, are going to be are going to just like ignore you, you know. I think about like only 1 in 5 tend to stop for the average person. And so that's like 4 to 5 people that are just like, nah, I don't want to talk and moving along. And so when that happens, that's okay. That's just sort of part of the process. A lot of people will not even hear what you say. All they're going to see is somebody with a clipboard approaching them, and they're going to be like, I'm out. So, oh, Mary Ellen, you're not able to type in the sheet.
No.
Okay. Is anybody else able to type in this sheet? I'm wondering if I just need to change the settings. All right. Sorry, I'm coming back in here though. So friendly approach as well as a friendly farewell. So even when they say that they don't want to talk to you, or if they stop and listen, say they don't want to sign, that's okay. We're just gonna wish them farewell, wish them a nice day, even if they are being kind of a dick to you. All right. We want everybody to have a good impression of our campaign overall. And so if they are being a dick, like you can take a quick break and go commiserate with your partner, you know. But yeah, just in general, be friendly the whole time. We also don't want to waste time. So there are going to be some people that you approach who want to really talk to you about the issue. And these tend to be the kinds of folks that are not actually interested in signing, they just want to debate, you know. And so if the person is does not seem like they're going to sign, and they start to engage you in conversation, try to find a way to excuse yourself politely. It's always fine to say, I've got limited time to collect today. I got to go talk to some other folks. It was nice to meet you. Goodbye. You know, something along those lines. But yeah, you just don't want to waste any time arguing with people. You know, you are far better off spending those minutes approaching other folks who already agree and are willing to sign. We also don't want to make any assumptions about people. Yeah, Sass, you have a thought here?
Quick tip. Yes, uh, you can say, we have more information on our website. Give them a handout. You can find us another time to sign after you've learned more.
Yes, and we do want all of our petition gatherers to have flyers to give to people who want to learn more. Yeah, that's going to be one of the things we're making sure that folks are supplied on. But yeah, we also don't want to make assumptions about people. So you can't assume anything about how a person is going to vote based on appearance. It's really easy to make those kinds of assumptions. You know, if you see someone who looks like your stereotypical conservative voter and you're coming in with a liberal issue, I have talked to plenty of those people who turns out actually were more liberal than they initially appear, and the other way around as well. You know, someone who appears more liberal might not respond well to a liberal thing, might be perfectly happy signing a more conservative petition. You know, this particular campaign is very much cross-partisan, and so you're not going to be dealing too much with people getting all upset from a partisan angle. You know, but still, rule of thumb: don't make assumptions about the people that you're approaching. I recommend approaching everybody. You know, when I was collecting signatures, I was one of the top signature collectors, not to brag, but I am going to brag. And that was largely because I just approached literally everybody that like walked past me. Whereas the folks that I was often partnered with, you know, weren't always doing that. All right. Okay, so there are some main ways to gather. I've been talking mostly about gathering in high traffic locations, approaching strangers, you know, on a street corner or in a parking lot or at a festival, things like that. But also, there are opportunities to collect at friendly organizations. So, particularly if you are a member of any organization that meets on a monthly basis or maybe even more frequently, you can ask permission from one of the organizers of that event to come in and collect signatures at the back of the room as people are coming in or heading out. Also within your community. So some folks don't want to dedicate like a full 12 weeks to gathering, but do want to help out. And that's something you can do just by asking your friends and family. Just talk to them about the issue. Be like, hey, do you want this on the ballot? Okay, great. How about you sign real quick? You know? So just collecting signatures from friends and family is a way to do it. And then sometimes we'll also do door to door. This is often like in the more sparsely populated areas, this tends to be a better way of collecting, unless there actually is a good high traffic spot. So door to door is likely to be more common in rural areas, but we're going to be looking for high traffic locations all over the state as well. All right. And I wanted to go over some sample talking points. So we're going to have more of these. We're going to have like a full sheet of them for when we're doing the full signature training. And if you like, you can always check out this one pager that summarizes the main campaign points. Our communications team put this together like a month or two ago. But some solid talking points that generally are going to get people on your side. Do you want to ban politicians from lying on the ballot? So this is a fantastic opener that we have actually polled on, and the vast majority of people respond positively to that, as long as they hear you. Again, a lot of folks will just completely ignore what you're saying if you're like approaching in public, but this tends to get a lot of yeses. Likewise, has confusing ballot language ever tricked you into voting for something that you regretted? So whenever you have somebody that's unsure about whether or not they want to sign, these are some talking points that you can give to help persuade them. And again, if you're talking to somebody who is definitely against this, don't waste time trying to persuade, just move on to the next person. Bringing up SB 22. This is a really key and important point to hit, because SB 22 means that if we don't win on this issue, if it doesn't get on the ballot, if it doesn't pass, then the citizen initiative is effectively dead in future years in Missouri. This is our last campaign cycle to protect this. And just to summarize for those that are unfamiliar, SB 22 means that the Secretary of State can blatantly lie in ballot language, and there's nothing that anybody can do to get that changed until it's too late to collect signatures. That's why it kills it. It's a bureaucratic change that is very effective at ending this process. Do you think our Constitution should require politicians to respect the will of the people? If yes, this is a constitutional amendment that will require that, you know? How did you feel when our legislature overturned the puppy mill ban? That's a real crowd pleaser right there. You know, there's nobody in the state who I've talked to who was glad that the puppy mill ban got overturned, except for owners of puppy mills. If a majority of citizens vote for a policy you personally disagree with, would you respect the will of the majority anyway? Most Americans have pretty strong democratic ideals, democratic with a small d, and will generally agree with this statement. When politicians refuse to propose policies that average citizens like, should citizens have a way to propose those policies directly? I will say that, like, I recommend changing the wording on some of these to feel more natural for you, you know, but this is just a general point that our politicians ignore the things that we want, and this is often our only path to get those things done. All right, and our legislature complains that citizens amend the Constitution too often, but they've done it 134 times. We've only done it 31 times. So that's a big load of BS. They just don't like it when regular people are writing laws without their say. And I want to take a few minutes here to open this to the room. Does anybody else have a talking point that they can think of that they or someone that you know would find persuasive? So feel free to unmute or put them in chat. Yeah, Tony, your hand is raised.
Would you like to ban the legislature from overturning things that we have already voted for?
Okay. All right, excellent. Anybody else?
It's the politicians have actually amended the Constitution 135 times. My math was off there. I missed something at the August election last year.
All right, I fixed that. All right, anybody else have something? Yeah, Susie.
Well, one thing that I often say that is actually convincing to people when I'm trying to get general signatures is, do you realize that we are only one of 26 states that still has the ballot initiative in our toolbox?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, legislatures have banned them in other states. Yeah. Yeah, and like because of SB 22, it's effectively going to be only 25 if we don't get this on. Yeah. All right. Any other talking points?
I think I get these mixed up all the time too. I think it's 26 that don't have it and 24 that do.
No.
Oh, I
No.
am wrong. Okay. So a friend of mine is wrong, has been saying it wrong to me all week. Okay, thank you.
All right, cool. All right. Anybody else have a good talking point? No? All right. Well, we will be like putting together more of these for you before the actual gathering starts. And there will be an opportunity to find some of these naturally when we're doing outreach, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in this meeting. All right. Okay, so let's do department overview here. So first of all, signature goals, we need to collect 300,000 signatures. So this is actually overshooting the technical legal number that we need for an amendment, which is about 170,000. But when you're collecting signatures, because of the rules, a lot of them are going to get tossed out. And so 300,000 is the minimum that we need to guarantee that we have at least 170,000 valid signatures. All right. It's real sad that a solid, like, what is that, 35 or 40% are likely to get tossed, which is incredibly frustrating, but not much we can do about that at the current moment. We're going to try and do that in 12 weeks. So we're going to start gathering on July 1st and try and wrap it up by September 30th. If we can hit our 2,500 gatherer goal, then we should be able to get that done. But if we aren't able to in that 12-week period, that's okay. The legal deadline to turn in the signatures is May 3rd of next year. And the practical deadline is actually more like March 31st because we need time to validate signatures and check to make sure we have enough that are actually going to be considered valid by the state. All right. And then the overall structure of the department. So the biggest need is for signature gatherers, of course. We need 2,500 to hit that goal. We have so far recruited 738 canvassers, which is a fantastic number. Let's do our finger wiggle. Celebrate. Yeah. Yeah. Who's happy about that? All right. Okay. But yeah, we still need close to another 2,000 or 1,800 more roughly. So the qualifications for this role, you just got to be brave and mobile enough to approach strangers. That's pretty much it, you know. And the expectation is to gather for 1 to 2 hours per week for 12 weeks. You can expect about 5 to 10 signatures per hour for most folks. If you want to learn more about the petition gatherer role, you can check out the description here. So the role descriptions are linked in the agenda, which again is in the Zoom chat. We do need a ton of notaries as well. So as we talked about earlier, every petition sheet is required to be notarized when it gets turned in. Now, thankfully, you don't need a notary present when you're collecting signatures, just when you're certifying that you did this legally. So notaries, we're going to make sure we've got set up around the state at field offices where people can go and turn in their petition sheets at particular times when we know a notary is going to be there. So we've got 20 folks who have signed up to be notaries so far. We need at least 50. We want to have about 5 per region at least, and we have 11 regions. All right. So qualifications, you just got to be a certified notary. And if you aren't right now, it's not that hard to become one. You have to read a boring, book on the requirements and all that, but it ain't that long. And there's this link here that will walk you through the process. So one of our volunteers set this up early in the campaign. And it just goes through the steps, has the links, how to become a notary on the webpage, what the application is, and so on. And we're not going to go over this in detail right now, but this is linked in the agenda. And by the way, the agenda is also linked on the calendar event if you came in after we put it in chat. All right. And in order to manage 2,500 signature gatherers, we need more than 100 field captains. Actually, we have recruited, I think it's actually 8 out of 100 so far. That number needs to be updated. But yeah, we need more than 100 field captains across the state. So this is mostly a support role. And I'm going to go ahead and open this up real quick to go over the details so that you're familiar with it. But let's see here. Yeah, so the local, this is the wrong, no, this is correct, yeah. So local field captains provide support and guidance for signature gathering teams. You're going to make sure each gatherer has supplies, meaning petitions, pins, clipboards, flyers, at least one gathering partner, a list of good gathering locations, and someone to notarize completed sheets. You're also going to track the number of signatures that your team gathers. Let me zoom in on this a little bit so you can actually read that. There we go. Report your progress to your regional field coordinator, regional field director, collect completed sheets, deliver them, all that. It's mostly going to be communicating via phone and email, but we do want folks to meet in person fairly regularly as well. And so, yeah, bottom line is there is no way to coordinate thousands of signature gatherers without breaking them into teams, and each team needs a captain. And we go into more detail about, how you can the specific goals and expectations down here. But this is what we're saying when we say it's mostly a support role. It's mostly just helping folks coordinate, stay supplied, and troubleshoot issues. All right. And Pat, I see that you've got a raised hand.
Yeah, I was going to mention on the notary.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
trying to save money to become one, but I looked and it's over $100 in fees.
Yeah. It can be a little bit expensive to become a notary. Yeah. And there's like a bond that you have to purchase as well for like another 30 or 50 bucks,
That's
something like that.
45, I think.
Or no, actually, I think we did the math on this before. I think that including the bond, it's about $100 to become a notary. Yeah.
Actually, if you get the package for just the basic notary, I think it was 170.
Oh,
Things have
okay.
gone up. No?
No, Tony?
Do you have the final? Do you have the actual count?
Look on our website. There's all the specifics are laid out on our website. It's around $100.
Okay, maybe I can make that.
All right.
I'd be
Okay.
pleased to help you pay for that.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you, Cindy.
thank you,
Let's
Cindy.
celebrate that. Hell yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Was
I'm going to wiggle a lot.
Yeah.
very pleased to do that.
All right. Excellent.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that's basically what to expect for a local field captain. So the only experience that you need is either gathering for previous initiatives or managing a small team. Like it really does not. If you were like a shift lead at a restaurant at some point, then you've got enough experience to do this, most likely. But yeah, just central hub, keep your team supplied, motivated, trained, meeting goals. That's basically what you're doing. All right, and then regional directors. So we have 11 regions. We split the state up into 11 regions and need somebody to, oh, hold on. This actually needs to be updated as well. We've got 2 out of 11 so far for Springfield and Kansas City. And I see Angela Pryor, our Springfield regional directors in the room. And Amy, is Amy in here for Kansas City? I don't think so. But yeah, we've got 2 folks. We need several more. So this is a little bit bigger of a role. You would need a little bit more experience on this, but summary here is, let's zoom in again. Here we go. All right. So you support local field captains in the same way that those captains support signature gatherers. That means provide guidance, keep them supplied, motivated, and coordinated. And you're also going to be responsible for setting the field strategy for your region. We want you to work with field captains on this because we want field captains to be involved, and also they're gonna have good ideas that you didn't think of. We believe in the power of the crowd in this coalition, and just regular people working together. So yeah, we do want to involve the field captains in the overall strategy. And then the regional director is also going to be keeping track of the region's overall progress, make sure that volunteers are being recognized and rewarded for good work, and troubleshoot obstacles. So that is sometimes going to mean helping to resolve conflicts between signature gatherers or field captains. Other times it's just this person doesn't have a ride and we can't find one. Can you help us figure that out? But yeah, so a regional field director should have a significant amount of experience either with people management or political campaigns generally. So we also want to make sure that you are highly organized and an excellent communicator, because you got to be well organized to manage that many people coming in. So yeah, we need somebody keeping an eye on the big picture. Otherwise, everything is going to descend into chaos for sure. So this campaign will not succeed without a bunch of dedicated regional field directors. All right, let's come back here. Okay, so I'm going to pause here and ask if anyone has questions about those roles or anything that I just talked about.
I'm curious how you divvied up the 100+ field captains and geographically.
So it's going to be about 10 to 20 for each urban area and at least 5 to 10 for each rural area. That's the thinking. Does that make sense? I'm not sure.
You don't really have a map yet. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we actually do. So I was going to get to the region map later. We do have a regional map here.
Okay.
Yeah. But generally it's just like the more populated areas, the urban centers are going to need more field captains because there's just going to be more people.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll go over the regions in just a moment as well. Do we have any other questions?
As far as getting rides for people and maybe helping to organize who drops stuff off to who, would you like a regional divided spreadsheet on that?
I'm sorry, say that one more time. A regional divided spreadsheet for what?
For getting rides for people, figuring out who drops products or supplies off to people? Would that help?
I mean, that is probably a good idea. Those kinds of systems are going to be set up by the field captains and regional directors. But yeah, I think it would be smart to have a spreadsheet for each area showing, who's available to help with what, where people can go to turn things in, get resupplied and things like that. Yeah. We don't have that currently because we're still ramping up.
Well, I'd be happy to start building it if some of the regional people or the team members want to tell me what they think they're going to want on it.
All right, fantastic.
I can just start building it and add stuff as it's needed.
Okay, let me add a note here. Pat Armstrong will create a doc to coordinate supplies and other field captain needs. Yeah. So I'm just going to note that down there. I'll follow up with you on that a little bit later, Pat. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, great. Any other questions?
Yeah, I do have one. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead,
Okay.
Kate.
So I work or am a volunteer with a women's club, and we were very successful in getting about 2,300 signatures in our area for the Amendment 3. So if we have 50 people out there working for us, and maybe that's not the number you wanted for this, there's going to be flexibility in all that, and
Yeah.
you understand the question?
I don't think so. So yeah.
So we might have more in our particular area
Yeah.
of people than is really what your breakdown. And that's okay. And we can just do our own thing, but within the system.
Yeah, that is okay. So we're gonna right now the numbers are a little bit loose because we don't know the exact needs for each region area.
Right.
And so yeah, if we need more people, we need more people, and we're gonna make an effort to recruit those folks.
Okay. And then one other thing, are you gonna end up needing to go after certain districts. Like with Amendment 3, all of a sudden halfway through, there was a push on 2 particular congressional districts. And so then we had to kind of change our focus to help with that. Is that something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so the state requirement is that you gotta hit the minimum signature number in 6 out of the 8 congressional districts.
Right.
And so regional directors are going to be responsible for tracking that progress. And it may be that, like, in fact, it's likely that we're going to hit our target in like certain districts faster than we will in others.
Right.
And so when that happens, we're going to start moving our focus away. So, for example, with like Prop A and Amendment 3, I know that they hit their target in like the St. Louis and Kansas City congressional
Right.
districts
Right.
a lot sooner than they hit them in the more rural areas, and so there was a change in focus. So
Right.
we're going to be doing that as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Are notaries limited to their county?
No. I'm pretty sure that notaries are good anywhere in the state.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
would need to double check.
I think they are.
Yeah. Tony, you have a hand raised?
So based on what Kate was saying, if you live on the border between 2 congressional districts, let's say you live on the line between 1 and 2,
Uh-huh.
if you have opportunities to collect more in 2, that would speed the process where where 1 is going to have
Right.
has more density, so it'll be easier.
Right. And so I think what happened with us is 1 is more, I'm close to the line and our whole county is split down the middle.
Uh-huh.
1 is then associated with a very rural county to the south, 1, a more dense one to the west. And I think at some point they gave up on the very rural because it was so spread apart. And so then we were all focusing up on the other more dense one to help out there.
Yeah.
We might want to
it's-
approach that to begin with. I don't know.
Garrett, time.
Okay. Thank you, Pat. If
Sorry.
anybody else has questions, please put them in the chat and we'll try and get them answered as fast as we can. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're also going to be collaborating with the outreach department. So as I said earlier, we're planning to start collecting signatures July 1st, but up until then, we want our field teams to start getting involved, start getting together, and help outreach to spread the word. We just need to recruit more people generally. And so we're going to be doing that by heading to events, either like renting tables at events to talk about Respect Mo voters, or just handing out flyers. So there have been protests that have been happening all over the state, all over the country, really, and we've had folks going to those. We've also had folks going to major festivals in large areas. And Tony, you can potentially talk about this a little bit more in a moment, but at a very basic level, the reason that we want to do this is, first of all, it's something that we can do immediately without waiting until we're ready to start collecting signatures. It is high impact because we very much do need to spread the word and get more people involved if we're going to hit our signature gathering numbers. It's a good team building opportunity. It's a great way for people to start working together and coordinating and start setting up those communication channels and other habits. And it's a great place to practice talking points. So some of the ones that I wrote up there earlier, and also just coming up with new ones on the spot as you talk to people. Share those with the rest of the group, and we'll add that to our talking points doc later on. Susie, yes, you have a question.
This is one that always gets to me. Voter registration. Are we allowed to also promote voter registration, not necessarily do it, but give them information about voter registration, making
Yes.
sure that they're up to date?
Yeah, we are allowed to do that. I need to double check whether or not I think that if they change their registration on the same day that they sign, it may. I'm not sure if that counts or not, but yeah, Tony.
So I last year wore a lanyard that had a QR code for the Secretary of State's website, and we can provide those to you, where if someone said, sorry, I'm not a registered voter, I would say, well, if you want to be, you can use this QR code and register to vote on your phone right now. You can step aside and do your registration real quick, just takes a few minutes, and then come back to me and you can sign. And as long as it's the same day, it's legit.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is if we are doing this sort of pre-signature campaign,
Yeah.
that to me too is an obvious time to dovetail voter registration conversations, because people think that they are, but they're just not.
Right.
And sometimes people aren't sure which address they're registered to vote. So you, with that same link, you can check your registered address.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would encourage people to do that, because I think on the last campaign, that was like the weakest link at the very end, is you get all these signatures and for whatever reason, so many of them don't seem to be valid. And I think it's because people move and they forget.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Patrice, you have a question?
Yes, tomorrow I am attending a group that is non-political, and I have printed out a bunch of the flyers. I was wondering if it is okay for me to give them out at that group.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay. I would recommend talking to Tony Easter, who's on the call, so that she knows where you're headed, and we can get that tracked.
Tony Easter?
Yeah, Tony Easter. Toni. Yeah, she's been talking a bit already.
Okay. Yeah, I joined late, so
Okay.
thank you.
All right, and then our outreach department is also going to be reaching out to friendly organizations to ask for use of field offices across the state. So hopefully we're going to have a bunch of folks or a bunch of locations for other nonprofits where we can just like go and drop off signatures, get notarized, pick up supplies, things like that. And Tony, do you want to take a moment to talk a little bit about what the outreach department is doing in this area?
What the outreach department is doing.
Just to talk about like this general collaboration. Did I miss anything that you think is important to mention?
Yeah, so the outreach department is giving presentations. Any opportunity there is, if you know an organization that wants a presentation from Respect Voters, we would be very happy to do that. Wherever it is in the state, we've got speakers all throughout the state. We are reaching out to organizations throughout the state that could be allies of ours and have potential to collaborate with. And we're doing this one-on-one outreach where you're taking the flyers out or sign up sheets and getting people's information.
All right. Thank you, Tony. And thank you, Pat, for keeping us on schedule. Okay. And if you want to learn more about that, the outreach department meets on Thursdays. It's on our calendar on our website. And yeah, you can join it.
At 5:30.
All right. Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. So we've broken Missouri down into general regions here. So maybe I should actually zoom out a little bit on this one. Hold on. So we can see the whole map. Nope. 125. There we go. That's a little bit better, but yeah. So we started with the urban areas, basically anything within an hour's drive of downtown for St. Louis, KC, Columbia, Jefferson City, and Springfield is all included there. And then we separated the rural areas by population density and what we think is going to be convenient for people. But there's a chance that the borders of this change a little bit as we get some more regional directors in and make some other choices. All right. But yeah, these are the 4 urban areas. These are the 7 rural. And you can see we've got volunteers all over the state here, obviously more concentrated in the more populated areas. But this is going to help us figure out where we need to be recruiting more people to canvass. Thankfully, in Missouri, most of the cities are near multiple congressional districts. And so somebody who's living in St. Louis, Columbia, or Kansas City, for example, can easily get to 2 or 3 different districts and collect there. Okay. All right, so I just wanted to show you that district map real quick. Let me come back up to our overall structure. So again, we need a lot of folks to be field captains in particular, and need some folks to step up as regional directors. And so I'm just going to ask, how many people in this room would like to take on one of these roles, field captain in particular? Feel free to raise your hand or put your name in chat.
I saw Susie wiggling a finger.
Yeah. Susie's going to be one of our St. Louis field captains, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Do you have to be very mobile?
No, not really. So it's mostly a like remote support thing. You're going to be texting and emailing people to check in on them, occasionally calling. And if you would like to go out and help collect signatures to boost your team's numbers, we encourage you to do that, but it's not required.
Well, I'm going to try to get out. I just don't know how effective I will be. Because the one
Okay.
place I thought I could go to told me no, they don't allow signature gathering.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll help you find good places. And I will say sometimes we take the strategy of asking forgiveness and not permission. So, but usually it's safe to collect outside of like government buildings, and often we can find like local business owners or churches or things like that where we're going to be able to get permission to collect. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, is anybody else interested in being a local field captain? Let's see, is that Mary Wagner? All right. Okay, let me just note down names. Susie Brown. I'll put you down as a maybe, Susie. I know we talked about that earlier. Pat Armstrong, Mary Wagner.
I have to tell you, I've never captained anything, not even a sports team.
Okay, we'll talk a little more about expectations and all that, and make sure that you feel prepared for that role. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Anybody else want to step up? All right. Okay. And that is perfectly fine. A lot of folks, we need plenty of people just gathering signatures on alone, So, I mean, with a partner, you know what I'm talking about. So if that's all that you're planning to do, that is fine. We need a lot of y'all. But I do want to encourage you to go and tell more people about this campaign, and think about people in your life who might be equipped to be a local field captain or a regional director. And the reason for that is that if we cannot fill out these roles, if we cannot get people in leadership for field, we're just not going to be able to run this campaign. We're not going to succeed. I know that everyone in here wants to win on this issue. All of us are sick of our representatives ignoring our will. And so please spread the word. Please try and bring some more folks in for those leadership roles in particular. And Patrice, you have a question? You are muted currently. Let's see if, yeah, should be in the
Can you
bottom
hear me now?
left corner. I can hear you, just can't see you, but go ahead.
Okay, well, I just had a question because tomorrow night I have both outreach and recruitment on my calendar. Are they at the same time?
They're not at the same time, no. So recruitment, outreach is the new name for the department formerly known as recruitment, because recruitment wasn't super accurate. Outreach is a much better descriptor for what they're actually doing.
Okay, and I'm going to meet up with Federation of Lake of the Ozark Democrats next week. So I'll talk to recruitment and outreach about that. And, if we don't get somebody in as a speaker, I'm willing to train as one. But, and if we can't get field captains, I'd do it. But for now, I think I'm going to have plenty.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, Tony, I see you've got your hand raised.
So I have just shared in the chat a text message that someone created. For if you have anybody in your contacts who you think would be good for working in the field, excuse me, you could send a text message to them and see if they would be interested.
Yep. And we encourage you to like change the wording on this so that it feels more natural for you and your friend group. But yeah, this is a fantastic template to work from. All right, and I don't have anything more on the agenda, so I'm just going to open it up to more questions generally. Anybody else have any questions or thoughts to discuss?
If I may, I just wanted to jump on the earlier part of the meeting where you're talking about working in 2 people or more for, collecting signatures. And it's also, I think, a big consideration of the respect of people's time, because when you find these people, they're not alone generally.
Yep.
And the more you can sign up simultaneously and get them on their way, the better chance you have of being successful with that. And as particularly, in more rural areas, even though I'm in a metro, Springfield, but we deal with a lot of the rural areas around us and different counties and different sheets of paper. And so just wanted to throw that on, that there's power in numbers in signature collecting.
Absolutely true. Yes, thank you. Okay, Tony, is your hand raised again or still?
Again,
Okay.
because if you deliver the ask when you're collecting signatures with a smile, it changes everything.
Yep.
If you sound depressed and you're asking, people don't feel compelled.
Yep. That is why we say friendly approach, friendly farewell. Yes. Get a big smile on your face, even if it looks crazy fake. Okay. All right. Kate, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, just wanted to offer a tip.
Mhm.
Something under Amendment 3 that we found where people would almost always say yes was around marijuana dispensaries.
All right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. Those folks tend to be pretty chill.
They'll sign anything,
Yeah.
but get them on the way in because they're not under the influence.
Well, they're not on the way out either. They're not allowed
Yeah,
to.
right,
Yeah,
right.
Well, and remind them that they wouldn't have a dispensary if not for this signature
Ballot petition.
That's right.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah, that makes them excellent locations for this initiative in particular. Yeah. And Liz, you have a question.
Yeah, my friend who I'm gonna be collecting signatures with told me she's already been contacted about that, but and she told me I was supposed to contact someone to let them know the 2 of us want to be partners, but I don't know who that person is.
Okay. That would most likely be whoever ends up being your field captain. What area of Missouri are you in, Liz?
I'm in St. Louis County. We are in Kirkwood, Glendale, Webster Groves area.
Okay. All right. Well, if Susie ends up deciding to go field captain, maybe we'll put you on her team. And if not, we'll get you connected with somebody else. Just tell them that you 2 would like to be partners for signature gathering. Okay?
Great, thank you.
All right. Awesome. Any other questions?
Tony, did you see my question in the chat? Because I think you might be the right person, but I'm not sure. It's probably a little garbled, but
I mean, I don't think I see. Oh, how can you get a list of who's volunteering in the Columbia area? Was that the question?
yeah, Columbia, Boone County. I feel like I'm out here alone, although I know there's people, and I wonder if other people don't feel that way. I mean, in St. Louis, you guys kind of are, I think, together more, maybe only on Zoom. I don't know, but I feel like we need to, if we could work together a little more here, we could stir things up a little more, maybe.
I agree.
Mary
Yeah.
Ellen?
And we want
Garrett?
people. Yeah.
I just wanted to say, Mary Ellen, this Patty and John Purvis, we're working on a fundraiser in Columbia at Paul, Top 10 Wines. We don't know the date yet, but maybe if you come there that night, and I'll be sure and try to stay in touch with you, you might find more people.
Are you from Columbia or the area? Where are you from?
We're from St. Louis, well, now, but it was a couple of
Okay.
years ago we moved from Columbia, so
Okay.
yeah. And Paul was
I
willing
was
to get
hoping
on
if we could
board.
get a list that maybe I could actually reach out to people, and maybe Doug, who talked to me, would help out.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll be in touch
But-
then.
But let me know, yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
Marianne, we'll get you a list of, particularly if you're going to be a field captain, we'll make sure that you get a list of canvassers.
Well, I
and
don't
veterans.
know if that I can be a field captain, but I'm hoping if we could get more of us together, that would help us get
Yeah,
more
well,
outreach, get, you know.
This is one of the things that our events and good vibes departments are going to be working on together, getting more mixers together, just social events, so that people can meet each other in person, get to know the other folks on the campaign. So we do want to
I
plan
would
some of those
help
for
in
Columbia.
this area if I could get some information, but I don't know how to get in touch with people. I've looked on Mighty Networks. I've put notes out on Mighty Networks, but I don't get much back.
Okay, I would say work with the events team to set up a mixture in Columbia, and then they can get the word out to volunteers in your area.
Okay.
And you could sign up for, let's see, in Mighty Networks, we have congressional districts laid out where you can
Yeah,
talk
there's
to
not
people.
much activity.
Have you tried our Facebook chat groups?
I'm on Facebook, but I'm not a big Facebook person. So I jumped into the Mighty Networks and was hoping that would help. But so I don't know if.
Okay, so we'll help you figure that out a little bit later, Marianne. This is a little off topic, so I'm gonna.
Okay.
We've only got a few minutes left. Does anybody else have questions about the field department in this meeting? Cindy, yeah.
Yeah, Patricia, please put your email address up there again. I wasn't too quick enough to get it the last time, so I can get in touch with you and we can talk about money,
Okay.
All right.
darling.
And Gary,
All right. Anybody else?
I kind of had the same thing. I would like to know the volunteer list for
It's
the
out there.
region
Thank you.
Sorry.
so that I also could reach out and maybe recruit more captains. And until we get someone in region for Joplin, I'd be happy to do that for Joplin as well.
Okay.
Good deal.
Okay, great. Yeah, one of the things that we're going to be doing is sending out a survey to everybody on the canvasser list, asking if who would be willing to step up. We're also going to have a report ready for each region. So SAS, I know, is working on that. I don't think it's ready quite yet, but
And that's your list that you're asking for. Is going to be
What
your
is it?
report.
yeah.
What's the thing I'm working on?
Getting lists of canvassers for each region.
Oh, yeah.
I think we talked about this, right?
Oh, I mean, that's easy. We already have our list of canvassers and we have
Right.
people's zip codes at a minimum, if not their addresses. And so we can geographically target. We're ready to go on that at any time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll make sure that we get that ready for Springfield, KC, and Southwest Missouri, so that you can start reaching out to those folks. Okay, Angela? All right. Awesome. Any other questions or thoughts?
Tricia, are you Gmail?
What?
Are you Gmail? I didn't get the last part. I'm not very
Duck, like quack.com.
DUCK. Thank you. I'll be in touch.
All right. Then it seems like that's the last of our questions, and we are at the end of meeting time. So let's go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you all for coming tonight. I hope that this was useful and informative.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Yes.
right. Looking forward to collecting signatures with all y'all. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Night.
Thank you.
Good night.